foot mewing. So, for those who aren't aware, mewing is the practice of proper oral posture as a means of enhancing the development of the dental arches. So that said, foot mewing is then the practice of proper foot posture as a means of enhancing the arches of the foot. So the simplest way to tell if the arches are strong or if they are weak is to ultimately look at them, see how high they are. Like you see right here, I've got a nice arch here. Now this is just one arch of the foot. You've also got an arch actually on the other side here, and then also one under the middle here. That's the transversal arch there. So this is my left foot right here. So as you can see, my foot is currently not pronated. If it were pronated, it would be collapsed like this. This is when the arches collapse like this. In fact, I'll give you a top view of that. And then I'm going to give you a top view of what it looks like when it's correct here. So as you can see, the difference is really obvious as far as when it's collapsed and when it's not. So the idea of foot mewing essentially is that whenever you are not like running or walking, you're just standing still, you got to make sure that your foot here, it's your arch, it's not pronated. It's like if you're standing and you find your arch like this or even somewhat like it, you've got to be attentive to this and make sure to bring it up. So much like remembering to keep your tongue on your palate with mewing, you're going to be remembering to keep your arch flexed like this. It's important as well, whenever you're like walking, running, or jumping, you make it a point to push off the ball of the foot. So to explain more specifically what I mean, so it's like right here, you see the ball right here, this is the one you want to push off of, and the reason I'm really emphasizing this is if you look at my foot here, you can see how the toes here, this toe is actually a bit longer than that one. So if I just clench my feet like this, you can see that this metatarsal here, this one sticks out a bit further than that one. And the reason for that is because of wearing shoes with a narrow toe box. I've been wearing shoes with a wider toe box for a couple years now, and what that's resulted in is ultimately my toes having more space, and then for me, it makes it a lot easier for me to push off of this metatarsal. So whenever I'm running and walking, I push off of this one as opposed to the middle one here. And doing that, what that has ultimately done, that has led to this one actually getting a bit shorter from lack of use, and this one getting a bit longer. Ideally, this one's going to be just the same length as this, if a bit longer, but ultimately this one will be just a bit longer than the rest of the metatarsals here. So that is very important. Even if you decide to go the orthotic route, it's crucial that whenever you're walking, running, that you gotta be pushing off of this one. You've gotta be pushing through that ball of the foot there. You gotta really use that ball of the foot. Really emphasize that. Now another part of foot mewing, besides making sure that the arches don't collapse whenever you're standing still, or just like pressing off the proper metatarsal when running, like when running, walking, you know what I mean, is to lightly grip the ground with your toes. This is an interesting one. I first heard about this from a martial arts instructor, and then I further heard about it from a Shaolin monk. So the way this works is essentially whenever I'm just standing still, I'm not going to be running anywhere or anything, I simply lightly grip the ground with my toes. I don't try to dig my toes, I don't try to dig a hole in the floor with my toes. That's ridiculous. No. What I'm doing is I'm actually lightly gripping the ground with my toes. And the reason for this, at least what I believe to be the reason for this, is whenever you lightly grip the ground with your toes, the one thing I've noticed is it activates the arches. If your foot is pronated like this and you try to grip the ground with your toes, it doesn't feel right. In fact, you'll find that if you try to, your foot will just naturally come back up to the unpronated state.